My name's Cheri. Welcome to my stamp studio. I have a helper here. I don't know if she's in frame right now, but she made her to join me. Sometimes when I get going, she hops off the desk. So we'll see. It's kind of cold, you know, it's too cold. I mean, it's still too warm in the afternoon to turn the furnace on, but it's pretty cold in here in the mornings. So I have one more card that I'm going to show you using this bundle. I wanted to remind you of a couple of other things. We are getting ready to go on vacation, so I'm filming as many videos as I can in just a day or two, so I can hopefully have a couple of things to post while we're gone. But if you need me to place an order and you're one of those that likes me to do it and you email me or call me, then you need to get it to me before Thursday of this week, because after that I'll be gone, and so then you'd have to wait a week. And if you didn't know that you could email me or call me, you can always do that. I'm happy to place them for you if you'd rather me do it for you. My host code specials, my thank you gifts for, what month is it? October, are with any $35 order and above, you get linen thread. And then if you bump it to $100, you also get the beaded pearls that are part of the poinsettia suite. And those are the thank you gifts. Sometimes on the weekends, I throw in a additional little special, sometimes not. So it's just kind of, we see as we go. If your order's over $150, then you don't need to use the host code, but you still get the things, because then you get the free items. I have a couple of classes, excuse me, that are, registration is ending soon. This is a class as well. It won't, registration for it doesn't end until the end of the month, but I have the poinsettia and the little treats bundle that will end fairly soon after we get back from vacation. So those are the next two stamp sets I'm going to focus on to show you one more card for those. So let's get going with this. This is the Curvy Celebrations bundle. So if you haven't seen the other videos, it will be in the January to June mini catalog coming up in January. The Curvy Celebrations will, and the dies. But for November only, it's a limited edition Curvy Christmas set that goes along with the dies. So if you love this, then your only chance ever to get the Christmas part, which is completely adorable, and it's what I'm using in this video today, will be in November. And then there also is some paper that goes with it. I'm not using that today, but the paper's cute, and I have used it in a video. So I'll show it to you in a second. So I will have a class. They're not hard, but there's a learning curve. I think they should have called it Learning Curve Celebrations, because it's not the simplest dies you'll ever use. Once you get the hang of it, now that I've got it, I did this card, I just whipped it right out, because once you know how to use them, you know how to use them. So if you ever take a class, this would be one that I recommend that you take. So I'll have the details of it. I'm not sure what day this video will post, but I'll have the details in an email on Tuesday or Wednesday. So if you're not on my email list, then you can check my website and the details will be there. There'll be a couple of different ways that you can take the class. My helper left. So here are some cards that I have made. Not all of them have tutorials, and not all of them will have a tutorial, but it may be that none of them will be in the class either. But I may do, like when I first open the class, I may give you supplies to one or two of these cards if you sign up, if you register right away. So this one doesn't have a video, but it uses the fun ivies, and there is a video for how to use the ivies, because they're a different breed. Those are some different kind of dies right there. Then this one uses some of the regular kind of dies where they just cut them out. And then here's one of the curvies, and then I did a window card. This one does have a video. This one also has the ivies, and this is where I show you how to use them. This one does have a video. And then these all use the Curvy Christmas, which is what we're using today. I'm going to use these Christmas trees. This is a real simple one, and this is a nice one when you first get your dies to just learn how to use that curvy. This one does not have a video, and it probably won't. So this was the first one I did. Do not venture trying to use your dies this many ways on your first card, because there is a learning curve. And then this one, I don't have a video. My friend Tanya made it, but she did do it on a Facebook Live that we did together. So it is on my Facebook page if you want to see how she did that. Again, we just jumped right in, and we should have taken a second to figure them out. So I'm going to show you on this one how to use a couple of dies on one piece of paper. So I've got the Balmy Blue Glimmer paper, which is one of our top sellers. So I know a lot of you probably have it. That's why I went with it in the current holiday catalog. So I'm going to use 2 of the dies. So I'm just going to put them on my plate, and I'm going to use the one that does so this one does curvies and dots, or just curvies. I want the dots. So it has a cutting edge and a not cutting edge. If you want the dots, you need to make sure that the dots are included in what you're cutting. So I'm gonna put that down here. I'm gonna get a little snowscape, and I don't like them to go straight through because you don't want them to warp. And then this is the lace, and again, it can be just a curvy or it can be a curvy with lace. I want the lace in my thing, so I need to make sure that it's cutting with the lace in it. That's some of where the learning curve with these comes in. And if you just start sticking them in there, you're going to be always like, I didn't get the piece that I wanted. So I'm just going to stick them like that. I'm going to kind of do it so they're not going speed bump at all. So they're going in more at an angle. And then just put this on top. It doesn't matter if they're super straight because they're just cutting the curves. And then we're going to make our stamps work with however they are. So because this is Glimmer paper, I'm going to hold it still and I'm going to run it back through just so it gets one more little cut. So that's all the cutting for these that we have to do. They are messy. These are some messy dies. So now you see we have this piece here, and it gets the holes out. So we have this, and then we have this one piece here, and it was 5.5 by 2 3/4, my piece of paper. And then here's the lace. And for this one, you can see they're cut. You just have to kind of knock them out. Let me move this here so they don't fall on my card. So just knock those out. So once you have them all knocked out, now we're gonna stamp. This is a super quick card, and if you watch the other videos, well, my first one was pretty quick. But because I've been trying to show you how to use the dies, they take a little bit longer. So we're gonna get a piece of scrap paper because we are gonna do a little bit of blends. But it also gives you a little bit, these stamps are really long, but this is 5.5, cut 5.5 because we're gonna trim it down. It kind of gives you a little bit of wiggle room each way so you can put the stamps how you need them. So it's really nice if you have the Stampin' Seal because you know it's repositionable. So I'm gonna stick a tiny piece here and then stick this onto the corner of my card. These are really nice for those of us that have been stamping for a long time because there's a little bit of, it's not a challenge, but they're just not stamp and go. So this is, I should have cleaned it. I'm gonna use the trees. And because they're photopolymer, you can see it looks a little funky. You take your trees, or whichever one you're using, and lay them on here. And you just want them to kind of lay, so they're gonna do the curve the way you kind of want them. And they're not gonna be perfect, but you know, trees on a hill aren't perfect. So we have them there. And you can see now here my trees are longer over here, but my card's a little bit bigger than it needs to be. And then just pick them up. And then we're just gonna use the memento. It's a long stamp, so I'm just gonna stamp it this way. And then just kind of match it back up. Again, they're not perfect. It's just the illusion. And once you have them all on here, it'll be fine. So there's our trees. Now let's get our middle piece, which was why I cut it all at one time so they would match. And you can see this is falling off, but that's fine. We'll put it all back on. And again, just a little tiny piece here. We can hold this in place while we line up our next stamp. And for this one, you do also want to get this one ready. So now we're going to take our stars, and they need to go right down into this, and then just make sure that when this is on that they're going to fit, and they're good. You don't have to really line that one up. In fact, they won't quite fit on your paper, the top and the bottom, and then you're just going to trim it to be the design that you like. If you want your bottom to have more blue or your top. My bottom had a ton of blue on my other card, so that got trimmed off. Because every time you're just going to kind of put it in a different spot when you run it through your die machine. So there we have that. Super simple. And this one is shaped really, I think the curve on it is a little bit better than some of the others. There are words. I could have put words in here where I'm going to put those on the inside, but the words are curved as well, so they fit. So now let's get these all stuck on here. And I think because these have the holes in them, it works really well to just put the adhesive on your card. This one doesn't have holes, so you can do it. But if you're doing it on there, it tends to go sometimes through your holes, especially on the lace one. Let's just line that up in there. And then let's just go right across the top because we know our lace is towards the bottom. And just put it in the corner. And there you go. Super simple. So see, the longer I go, by the time you guys get your class, I will know what I'm doing with these. Now I have just various colors of blue blends. So I do have the Balmy blue because that's what color the paper is. But then I also have, let's start with the dark Night of Navy. I don't have both of them. I just have the dark. So I'm just going to add a couple of wisps, like one on each tree, just for the darkest highlight because this is our darkest blue. And then the same in some of these the bigger stars, just like a dot. And then I have Seaside, which is here. Again, just to have it, and I have the dark, just so we have a different shade of blue. And again, just kind of a stroke of it. And it doesn't have to be in every tree this time. I'm just trying to get a little bit of different colors of blue. Just some highlights. And this time, some of those little stars, I'm going to pick those up with that. Only takes a second to color this. Now I've got the dark Balmy blue. Kind of fill in some of the bigger scoops of that. We're going to use the light Balmy blue to be our blend. So right now they kind of look stripy. We don't want the stripy, but it'll disappear in just a second. There we go. Now let's take our light Balmy blue and then we'll blend it. And it literally just takes a second. And it gives a fun little, I mean, they're cartoony trees. So they don't need to look any kind of realistic. So the blue already. This would also make a fun Hanukkah card with the stars. And you could opt for all stars if you're doing a Hanukkah card. But I think that the silver and blue toned trees look pretty for Hanukkah. Then up here, we're going to do the same thing. Kind of just blend them and then just take it over the swoops with the light Balmy blue. And you're not doing the whole thing, just kind of over those lines, and I'm not even on them. And same with these little dots, not on them, just kind of in the general vicinity. And then just blend the larger stars. Just like that. And I'm going to add some Stella to it, but I'm going to wait till it's on the card. So it's a little bit bigger than it needs to be for this because we've given ourselves some room. Like over here, this kind of lost. This has a whole lace. This is kind of lost. We've got some spare room over here. So I'm going to take my baby paper trimmer. You can use any paper trimmer. And then on this one, this one's a lot better. On my other one, this was way bigger than this was, so I just trimmed that off. So just trim it down a little bit because I cut it 5.5. It's a quarter sheet of cardstock. It just can be a little bit smaller. So just trim that down, and then I think I'm going to lose a tiny bit more of my base. And then we'll lay it on the card and see if we think we need to use a little bit more. And then this is basic gray. Oh, I didn't color my tree trunks. I do have dark smoky slate for the tree trunks, which pulls it into the gray card. Just ever so slightly on the tree trunk. And then I have my light smoky slate. Just kind of give a wisp to the snow underneath. Not everywhere, just a little bit. Just kind of gives it some shading. Kinds of grounds your trees. Then it matches your gray card. So now let's lay this on here. We still need to lose a little bit more, so I'm going to take a little bit more off the top because now I'm really close to this. But because the dies will just be where you lay them, I find it's easier to give yourself the allowance this way and now trim it than it is to try to get it perfect and then cut them perfect, because this is easier. There we go. Now that looks good. Now we're going to take super fun little embellishment here. These are our stars that come in with the Heartwarming Hugs bundle. And I bet a ton of you have not used them because you're like, what am I really supposed to do with these? So we're going to take one. I'm going to kind of dangle it. Let's try to aim for between those stars right there. So flip it over. Just put some adhesive on the back of this, and this is just going to hold the string for now. So we want it right here. And then you control where you want it by how far we put this string back here. So right there's good. And then just press it into it. Put your adhesive over here. And right here where you know that's going to be, just add a little bit extra so it holds that string in place. Let's layer this on here. And then we're going to take the fun metallic mesh ribbon. So when you do my classes, if you get the kit class, like if you were following along with this, you would have all of the pieces. Like you would have that little star, you would have the balmy blue, you would have the white, you'd have these little pieces. So I have this. I'm going to kind of hold it tight. Lift up your star. And then pull it down in here. And then first you're just going to tie a knot. So you're going to have to kind of use your fingers to hold your star kind of straight. It doesn't matter if it's perfect because this will slide up and down. So hold that, get that knot, and then just tie a little bow. If you are bow challenged, then give yourself a little bit more of the ribbon because it's easier to trim a little bit of ribbon off than it is to spend 10 minutes trying to tie your bow. Just pull that through. It makes a really cute little bow. And you don't want it big, you want it little. And then just pull it tight. Trim this end off. And then you kind of need to open it back up. And then it's up to you. You can let it dangle like this if you want, or you can take a glue dot. So on this one, I will show you with a glue dot. My other one's dangling. That way you can see the difference. So you just take the glue dot, put it on the back of your star. And then just kind of put it where you want and see it will secure it in place. Then you can kind of mess with your bow. It needs to be opened back up. It's the same as our tulle ribbon, where when you tie it tight like that, it kind of smushes in on itself. So just open it back up. It's kind of arrange itself. It's stuck behind the, I think I got it stuck in the glue dot. There we go. So super simple. Now we're just going to do one more thing. You take the greeting that says, may your days be merry and bright. There is a Merry Christmas, and there's one more. There's 3 sayings in the Christmas one. Pop this open. Because it's on the black, it'll show up nicely in the gray. And then there's a little snowflake as well. Oh, and we have to add the Stella. I almost forgot the shimmer part. Just add a couple of snowflakes in there. Super cute. And then I have a Stella. If your Stella is empty, you can always use the shimmer paint, because you know I love to do that. And then just brush it over these trees. It just adds that little bit of glimmer. It's perfect. I really need to squeeze mine, but you know, squeezing it on camera is a little bit dangerous because you don't know if you're going to get that big glob. It's coming out. Just brush it over the trees. And the same over the stars. And you're finished. So this is lovely. Once you figure out how to use these dies, the bang for your buck you're going to get, because you'll be able to make little scallops for all of your cards. I have this from Trimming the Town. This, and you'll be able to use these anytime you want snowscapes or just fun little shapes to go with other dies. It's just getting to figure out how to use them. And in the class, I will do one little session on using them as borders with your other stamps. Here's the one where my bow, see, you can do it so it still moves, because they can take it out of the thing and it'll just move right back. So there you go. Super shimmery, super glimmery, super fun, and really pretty easy. If you've borne with me on this journey through these cards. So again, be watching my Facebook, my website, and my email is my easiest. The registration page for the class will be on my class website. I have a class page on my website where you'll be able to sign up there. So I will have a additional project for those of you that sign up on the first day or two. So you'll be watching this week, because if you sign up soon, then you'll get an additional project. So everybody have a great day. Bye.